Well, hello. I have Sarah Blake here with me, and today we are going to be talking about incorporating your archetypes into the brand of you. You guys have been doing really good work about your brand, building your brand from the inside out, bringing in all the stories, bringing in your strength finders, bringing in your values and your passions, and now we get to bring in some archetypes. And Sarah and I are really excited to do this with you guys. We're both newly certified in culture talk archetypes. And this was a great opportunity to be able to, for us to be able to play in this, first of all, and to be able to practice this. And second, I think it's going to be really insightful to really think about this from how can our archetypes really refine our brand and help us really show up in our brand. But also, I think as entrepreneurs, this is a powerful opportunity to really look at how we operate. What's our operating mode? What's the things that we're going to be really natural to, and what are some of the latent things that are there for us that might, that we can learn to play with these a little bit. And I think the shadows too. Sarah, do you want to I know you mentioned to me that the archetypes, when you got those, really made a great impact for you. Tell us a little bit about what that experience was like, the aha that came from learning your archetypes.
I'm not crazy. It sounds silly, but as when I go through my top three, there's the slow, methodical side, and then there's the let's go get it done. And I never could understand why there are certain times where it almost felt like I was dragging my feet, and other times I could just go and do it. Well, those are characteristics of two of my strongest archetypes. And it's like, oh, that's why I'm behaving or reacting to things in a certain way. And it's not good, not bad, but it's just this huge awareness of this whole person concept of, oh, this is why or when I'm reacting on the shadow side and kind of going to something. And then one of the things I love about this program is that shadows, it's not a weakness.
Yeah.
They're opportunities for growth. Yeah. And so understanding some of those areas, it's like, oh, this isn't a bad thing about me. It's just who I am. How do I grow from this? So I've had a number of aha moments going through this.
Yeah, and I think the shadows for me, because I've not been one that wanted to work in shadows in my work. I mean, I've had all kinds of work on learning shadows and different shadow work. But this is a bit different. And I think it helps us see when we get under stress, where we might kind of retract to. And again, as you said, it's a way that we can really grow in it. So I think it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Thought we would just start with talking a little bit about where this comes from, right? So it's Carl Jung. This is his work. He created archetypes, all those years ago, and there's been so many different ways that this can come about, but it's really fun to apply this in our brands, right? And so it's really about unconscious patterns or forms common to all people across culture and time. So it's kind of what's in our DNA, right? It's kind of these and they're stories. They're based on stories. They're based on patterns, and they come from the characters that we can create in our lives. And so I think it's a really fun way to look at who we are at our very core. I talk about who we are at our very core all the time. And so it's just another lens that we can bring through to this. Sarah and I were just on a call with our Culture Talk community, and they were talking about looking through a kaleidoscope, right? And this kind of just helps us see, as you're looking at your essence of you, this is just another lens that you're applying to all the stories that you've been gathering, all your strengths, all your passions, all your values, and you're peeling a little bit deeper. Or another way you could even think about it is, if you were thinking of an artichoke, right? Each of like your strengths, your passions, your values, your archetypes, all of those, you're pulling back the layers into who you are. And then at the very core of an artichoke is that most delicious part of you, that very essence of you. So this is just another way for you guys to be really digging into who you are at your very core. On this one, I'm just gonna pop this up here. I'm not even gonna talk about this too much, but it's really about these universal stories, these universal meanings, helping us find these patterns and evolve into where we're going in our life. So there's a woman named Carol Pearson, and I actually have had her book for years. So this was really fascinating to me. It's called The Hero Within. And she's talked a lot about how to bring archetype type work into branding. And this is why you guys are going to be incorporating this into your work, so you can really put this into your branding. So this is the work that Culture Talk was based on work by Carol Pearson. And her book is called The Hero Within. Culture Talk was worked with Carol for many years, and then they have now, done their separate things, but they did so with Carol's blessing, and built this really beautiful program that you guys are going to get to experience. So this is the archetypal framework. And what Sarah and I are going to do today is we're going to go through all 12 of these and give you a little insight into each one. You guys should have taken your archetype assessment by now. And if you haven't, let me know if you haven't got your link or anything along those lines. But you'll be able to start to see where you fit in there. And the cool thing is that you really are going to have, you're going to have a bit of the archetypes, all of these archetypes in you. So that's, it's not like you only have 3 of them and then you don't have any of the others. You actually have a lot of them. I love this slide. As a Game of Thrones person, I have watched Game of Thrones all the way through twice. Okay, I will admit to that. So I know all these characters, and it's fun to, just start looking at, where they all fit. Are you a Game of Thrones person, Sarah?
I did get sucked into it, so yes. I've only watched it once, though. I've not done it twice.
Who's your favorite in there?
Oh, goodness. I like Arya. I mean, she really...
Mine too.
Yeah, so I really like her.
Yeah, totally. She's totally
Which is crazy because that's not one of my tops.
Yeah,
but yeah. I'm really drawn to her in her journey.
Yeah, that's not one of mine either. So what are your 3 again? Your top 3?
I am hero, sage,
so hero,
and sage, and then I'm also magician, and oh my goodness, I can't think of the other one right now. Lover. So my number 2s, I had 3 that typed for number 2.
Yeah. So mine is the hero, the magician, and the innocence. And when I look at that, then I'm like, interesting. But we'll continue here. So some core principles around this. We've already talked a little bit about it. She talks about our strengths and our shadows. And then we each have the capacity for all 12 storylines. And then there's going to be a latent, that's like the lower one, but it's in a place for that you might be able to really develop, right? My latent one is sage, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So it's like, I'm not the academic. I don't want to get into all of the academics of it. What's your latent one, Sarah?
Revolutionary.
Right. So it's fun. And that doesn't mean that we don't have those talents. It means that we can just develop those talents.
It's not what we are naturally drawn to.
Exactly. So as you guys got your assessments back, what you're going to be doing for your homework is you're going to be pulling your top 3, or like in Sarah's case, she had 4 that were really at the top level. And you're going to you're going to go through, you're going to write them out. What are the strengths off of this one? What are the shadows off of this one? So you will put that into there. And you're going to create an archetypal profile. So this will be your primary archetype up here, and then your supporting archetypes here. And you're gonna create this kind of a diagram, and Sarah and I will show you our work that we did that you guys will be creating for yourselves at the end of this. And you're going to really start to analyze how this fits into your storyline, right? How each one of your archetypes fits into your storyline. And so we'll get to the assignment of that in a moment. So what we're going to do is go through the 12 archetypes, and we're going to go 3 at a time. So the first one is innocent, right? So this is life is good. Everything is simple. we have a sense of wonder about us. We love the good vibes. Can you tell this is one of my archetypes? Life is as it should be, right? I see the silver lining in everything. I'm optimistic. So that totally fits me. I mean, that's truly right up the lines of me. And then, you know, these are just some ways to look at this, right? This is just some words: the peacemaker, keep it simple, being in the present moment. Everything has a happy ending. And the shadows to this one is lack of confidence, fear, abandonment, fear of punishment, conflict avoidant. Yep, that's me. Naivety, I can't say that word. Change resistant. So these are, you know, these are just some of the things that we need to pay attention to if we carry this archetype. And know that, you know, we might fall into one of these at some point, and to be able to capture that and switch that then to an upward motion. So it's good to know these things. So Gandhi is a great example of an innocent. And next is an every person. So an every person is very much all for one, one for all. They're the common man. They are hardworking. They're very much about having justice. They want to level the playing field, and they're empathetic, right? They're empathetic to those around them. There's a kindred spirit associated with an every person. My husband's an every person. So this has been a fun one for me to learn more about it. They're very realistic versus the optimistic. So you can think about this, you know, so here was me being the innocent over here. I'm optimistic about everything. The every person is very much more so the realistic one. And that totally shows up with my husband and I. I mean, it's like, I'll be like, oh, we can do this. And he'll be like, okay, no, let's pull back to this. So it's very realistic. The shadow of this is the passive aggressive. They can be a complainer. They can be cynical. It can be an us versus them. Content or content with average. They can be just very content with average, or they can be that fear of missing out. So those are the shadows for the every person. Malala is a great every person. So, you know, she's out there, all for one, one for all, right? The hero, this is my primary, and this is your primary too, right, Sarah?
It is.
So this one is very much about bringing it on. Bring it on. You know, it's like, let's just take on the world. We want to do the right things. We have goals. We are results oriented. We inspire determination. We think I'm just doing the right thing. It's what we think we're always doing, right? It's like really believing in what we're doing and getting out there and leading with that. We can be action oriented and really be the ones out in the front. It's funny. I think one of the things that when I first did this, Cynthia Forshman sent this to me, and Hero showed up as the top one. I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. And that's one of the things is we don't actually really like the title of that one. But we like when you get into, it's like us going out and doing and making good with that and being very purpose driven. That feels good. But when you think about being the hero, that wasn't something that resonated with me. So I had to really get into the insights of this one before I loved it. Was that way for you too, Sarah?
100%.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
And I thought maybe it was just because of where I am in my situation in my life. But the more I dug into it, it was like, oh, that is really me at my core. I just never looked at it this way.
Right. And then the shadow side to this is we can be a bully. We can the aggression can show up. We can be short-sighted. We can be overconfident in what we're doing. We can overlook the details. I totally do that. We can get burned out. Yeah, I think those are the downside to that. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg is a great hero example. So I'll take that any day. Okay.
Okay, the caregiver. The caregiver makes people a priority. They are first to lend a hand, an ear, or a shoulder. And some of their strengths are they can be very compassionate, they grow communities, they're very self-sacrificing, they're an actual mentor. They like to mentor people, and they tend to be focused on the present. And then on the shadow side, they can overcommit. They have the need to be needed. They can be self-sacrificing to a fault, and they may fail to ask for help even when they know they need it. And the Prime Minister of New Zealand is a perfect example of this. I love how she talks about, what side of history do you want to be on? Okay, the explorer, let me be free. They're about wanting to look out onto the horizon, and they are adventure seekers. On their strengths, they tend to be very adaptive. They're forward thinking. They're curious. They like the idea of a new adventure. They're loyal to their journey, and they tend to be focused on the future. And on the shadow side, which I'm really surprised I don't have more of this because they get distracted, and lack of accountability. They tend to get bored. They're never really happy with the here and now, and unable to commit. Amelia Earhart, adventure is worthwhile in itself. The lover. The lover taps into relationships and long-lasting memories. It's about the feelings and the experience. They are relationship-driven, emotionally intelligent. They trust easily, which who knows if that's really a strength or not, depending on the situation, I guess. They believe in a win-win scenarios. There's a sensuality to them. And on the shadow side, they can be codependent, be drawn to drama, and an inability to function without the thrill of an intense connection. And one of my favorite singers, Adele. I love a little bit of drama. That is a bad thing. I can flip really quickly.
Then we have revolutionary, and this is about people who believe that conventions were made to be broken, right? Revolutionaries do things radically different and on purpose. They challenge the status quo, they cut a new path, they are resourceful, they take risks and break rules, they lead the change, they help, they're the voices at the front of the room. They take risks and they break rules. And I think this is a really, this is a fun one. I admire this one a lot. And they're always when it comes back for what's the shadows, they have a lack of concern for others. They can be a really intense person. They can be opinionated. They can be antisocial. They can be in a bowl in a china shop. So, this is a space where, they're out in the front, in the forefront. Martin Luther King is a great example of that. A creator is someone who is pairing art with science. They are the makers of our world. They are imaginative. They are, passion is their self-expression. They're original. They are they bring order from chaos. They are prolific. They are innovation and beauty. They trust the creative process. So they like to be in that space. It's fun when I'm going through these. I'm even thinking of our mastermind group. I'm finding, I know where people fit in the mix of this, and it's really fun. The downside of this is that they can be carrying on too many projects at once. They are perfectionists, judges of creativity. Is that really that creative? Or they hate to finish. So that is the creator. And a creator here is Elon Musk. He's a creator. So you can see him, doing all kinds of amazing things. Ruler. They are the ones, again, this is another leader one where they're taking control and they're leading. They're politically savvy and well connected. They are accomplished. They have the foresight to see what's needed. They're confident, they're charismatic, they're responsible and accountable. They're patriotic and politically savvy. They're about image and influence. Oops. They're bossy. They're elite. They are. There's the abuse of power might show up for them. There's they have a superiority complex. They're slow moving. It might be my way or the highway. They'll take policy over people. So, ruler. Here we go. We've got Jeff Bezos as a ruler example.
Magician. They're going to make your vision a reality. They dream big and they can transform the world. Some of their strengths, they are visionaries. They make it look easy. They inspire. They turn limitations into possibilities. On the shadow side, think smoke and mirrors, the snake oil salesman. They could grow impatient, the tendency to be taken in by gurus. And they can be over dependent on a group's willingness to play along and to be able to be transformed. Oh, good old Walt Disney. First think, second dream, third believe, and finally dare. The sage, to know is to grow. The more you know, the better off we'll all be. So there's an intelligence to them, critical and clear thinking. They like to continuously learn. They're natural advisors. They tend to be detail oriented. However, on the shadow side, they can be know-it-alls. They can overanalyze everything. They can be viewed as serious or stubborn. And they have difficulty simplifying their thought process for other people. Oh, and the socially awkward, I will say.
Yeah.
I can feel that one. And here we are, Stephen Hawking's, a true sage. The gesture, laugh and the world will laugh with you. It's being playful and spontaneous, and they like to make people's day a little bit brighter. They're fun seekers. They're clever. They like to take a lighthearted approach. They're outgoing with big networks, and they tend to live in the moment. However, on the shadow side, they can be a distraction for themselves and others. They have the inability to take things, people, tasks seriously. And at the very extreme, they can be seen as using tricks or cleverness to manipulate. Oh, and right there, not taking something super serious, is good old Ellen. People always ask me, were you funny as a child? Well, no, I was an accountant. Okay, so with my archetypes, I did only do 3. So hero is my top. And then I did the lover and sage. And like we talked about earlier, my latent is revolutionary. So the strengths with the hero, we just went through, but we're going to go through it in more of a personal situation. The competent and courageous, assertive, courage to stand up for one's belief, performing. Shadow side is they tend to overlook details. They can be competitive and combative. An example of my shadow side would be if I feel cheated, like if we're playing a game and someone's not they're not following the rules, like I get really intensely combative about that. Like, that's not fair. Let's win on equal playing field, sort of thing. Or I'll lose on an equal playing field, but please don't cheat. On the strength side, the courage to stand up for one's belief. Left my corporate job of 15 years through lawyers. And when somebody had asked me why I just didn't keep my head down and I still could have had a job, the only response I really had was because it's wrong. And then my next one is Sage. This for me has been the aha moment of between the hero and then the Sage that has, they are detail oriented, whereas the hero is not. Being insightful, on the shadow side, socially awkward, the stubbornness, tends to overthink, whereas the hero likes to go. Shadow side of the Sage, the overthinking. I am a lifelong learner, and there's just a list of some things within like the last 7 years that I just decided to go out and get more education, and now it's yes, all of those. I love learning. Now, how do I package it all together? So, yes. So that's my Sage. And then on the Lover, actually, so the strengths, relationship building, connection, passionate, appreciating, shadow side, the intensity. My friends are like, oh, you definitely feel all of the feels. And that can be really intense for other people. I didn't realize that was part of my Lover's side. But I'm embracing that more and knowing when to kind of step back. And if you guys have not done the 360 survey that Cami has generously said, please go do. A lot of the feedback I got from that really spoke to my Lover's side, which I was not aware of, which was, I feel seen. You care about me. You're able to build connections and build relationships. And I can do this pretty quickly and easily.
I love how you were able to tie that back to that 360 survey, because it's like that's where when you're doing all these different pieces, you really start to see these threads.
And I did not realize where that connection was until going through Culture Talk and being, oh, that is why that is there.
Cool.
And I did not do much with my latent because I don't fully connect with that one.
Right.
But it's revolutionary.
Okay, here's mine. So hero, magician, and innocent. And then my latent is a Sage. So when I look at hero, this is the achiever in me, right? It's like, it's even in my strength finder. So there's one of my threads, right, that I can carry forward as strength finders tells me I'm an achiever. This shows this as well. I have this can-do spirit. I inspire determination in others, which I totally relate to that one. I think I'm doing the right thing. Oh boy, do I always think I'm doing the right thing. I mean, we can be driving somewhere and I'll be like, this is the right direction. And it'd be like, totally not the right direction, but I know I'm right. So there's purpose driven. I'm action oriented. I love a cause. Even if you look at what my purpose statement says, right? It's like, I'm a person that has touched millions of women's lives around the world, helping them dance through their lives of passion and meaning. I mean, that is my purpose. So it really is very reflective of that. Even Fire Dancer very much, which is very much about, finding your purpose, stepping into your purpose. The cause of sitting on the board of the Women's Foundation. I love to be on the stage, leading a room full of people. All of this really points to me in that hero side. The shadow side of this is assertive. And I can tell you, when I was in the corporate world, I got that back to me on a number of times. I can rush into battle. I can get burnt out. I definitely can burn myself out where I'm like, okay, I'm just working too hard. And so I have to work at really coming back to me. And so this is why I think what's really fun to play with the intersectionality of these three different archetypes, because when you start looking at the other ones, you see how they kind of play together. And I can hang on to causes for too long. I mean, I would have stayed in the corporate world forever if I had not been gracefully exited out of it. So there's definitely things that I'll grasp a hold of for too long. So the magician side of me, and this is really fun because this really ties to my belief that change begins within. So, with me, it was even with the horses took me into this world of wonder, of kind of that mystical sense of oneness that we have. I love to help others envision a new future. I harnessing catalytic energy towards changing consciousness. So I believe that, we are one. If we come together, we can really create change. I believe that at my very core. And a magician actually is very much sees into the future, right? That's that visionary side of it. I was having a conversation with Cynthia Forsman on this not too long ago, and she was like, that's what that part of it is, really being able to see the future. And it's that facilitative style. I much rather facilitate discussions and conversation and engagement and interaction than be the guru at the front of the room. That's not where I want to be. I want to be creating that connection. I believe in synchronicity, the very core of me. I transform problems to opportunities. I'm intuitive. I'm a power of positive thinking. And I am definitely a positive thinker. The shadow side of this is I can be taken in by gurus, and I have. I mean, I can think of people that I kind of really went down the pathway of following and went, oh, okay. Reliance on the magic versus the discipline of problem solving. That one made me laugh, because I do rely on that intuitive hit, and I don't want to play in the shadows. This is me not wanting to play in the shadows. So it's a funny thing about that one. And the innocent of me is, this is like, life is good in this moment. So, whereas the magician is looking kind of forward, the innocent is just like, life is really good. I love good vibes. You hear me talk about R factor, that ties right into it. A sense of wonder and awe. I see that. I use the word awe all the time. I see the silver lining. I'm an optimist. I have a big belief, what my beliefs are I really hold them dear. And I believe that change is for the better in the world. And I also believe that the world and the people are really good, inherently good. The shadow side is I can lack confidence. That's true. Seeing silver linings that don't exist. I can be naive. I can be conflict avoidant. And the sage, that's me. It's like, to be an academic or to get into like, it's like, I'd much rather feel my way through things versus, learn my way through things. So there you go. So the assignment for you guys as a group is to create your archetype profile. So you'll put your three archetypes here. And when we meet next week, what you're going to do is you're going to get 5 minutes to present your archetypes. So just like Sarah did and just like I did, you're going to present. You can put together, you can put together your top. You start with your profile like this, and then go through each one and what your life stories are that help you, fit into that. And you're going to have 5 minutes to present. And anything else you want to add to that, Sarah?
Have fun with it. One of the things about archetypes, it's about your story. Yeah. And so that's why at the end we were adding stories into each one of those archetypes on the strength and the shadow side, because it's about who you are and that story of you.
Yeah. And let it shine. Let that light of you shine through it. I mean, I think that's the fun part of it. So you guys have fun with it. And thanks, Sarah, for doing this with me. It was really fun to do this with you together.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you guys all next week.
Bye.